one. Hey, everybody, welcome to Paranormal, and we are your hosts. I'm Rachel, and
I'm Kaz. I'm back.
she's back, everybody, with my, crappy 12-minute podcast that I did the other day, because I had to do something to fill in the gap.
Well, sorry, but not
It's
sorry. When you go away, which won't happen, but when you go away, I will fill in and do, I don't know, a 12-minute
I could be away
stand-up
today.
routine.
I could be away today if I wanted to.
This is true. And you still might be. There might be a time when you're suddenly like,
Yeah, you never know. Just go lie on my laundry that is still sitting beside me on my couch here that my mom so kindly folded for me and I have yet to put away. It's been 3 days.
Our dryer decided to just not work yesterday, of course. And so we had to do a quick makeshift thing in front of the fire. So downstairs looked like, because I still had half of my sheets from my day job. So it looked like little ghosts everywhere because I just had them like hanging in the basement. It was great. I should have taken a picture and been like, what we do.
That is so funny. But yeah, for those who don't know, I probably sound like it. So I am recovering from, and that's Jay coughing in the background. I'm recovering from pneumonia. Yay. So I sound a little weird. I know I sounded weird on the last podcast. But now I'm like getting over it. Hopefully I'm out of it by the end of this week because I got stuff to do on Saturday, which includes driving across the border.
Oh my gosh.
Right,
I'm excited and jealous at the same time because I know what you're doing.
I know. I can't wait. I can't wait to see because now I have new information.
Yes. Oh, it's going to be great.
But yeah, other than that, there's not really much going on in our world right now. We're kind of just getting back into the swing of things, and this is usually, I guess, our quiet months.
It's like, a dead time.
Yeah,
I'm here all night.
Things are. It's usually when we plan. So we got a bunch of stuff that we have to plan, public event wise and stuff like that, which is what we do, and we may have a few investigations coming up, maybe. But anyways, so this episode is all about ghosts and love because it's going to air the week before, Valentine's Day.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody likes a good ghost story that involves love and not crazy living people marrying dead pirates. I have to.
Oh, dear. Yes.
And then divorcing them. Yeah.
Wow. What do you get out of that? Half the casket? What do you get when you divorce a ghost?
What do you get when you marry a freaking ghost? Like, how do you do that?
I don't know. Unless it's, what is it, a succubus? Is that what they're called? The female ones that like...
That's a female, yeah. And incubus is the male version. But still, I'll find that pirate article one and I'll post it for everyone. It's old, but
Listen, in today's society, I just watched a thing about a woman who's like, I'm in a long-term relationship with a circus attraction named Bruce, and he's amazing. She's in love with a
but that would be a Jerry Springer episode.
Yeah, no, now it's just reality. Now that's just your neighbor.
It's just normal. It's just normal. So I got a couple ghost stories from around this province, and places that people can actually visit if they want to know a little bit more about this love stuff. So I am going to just jump right in, and I'm going to talk about the first one right away, which is this picture behind me, which is the Hermitage in Ancaster, Hamilton area. So the Hermitage, it's obviously, this is what's left of it. Literally, it's just, a couple walls. It is a heritage property. It's got a lot of good info on it, but let's just get straight to the ghost story. So in 1833, the land was purchased by a gentleman by the name of Otto Ives, and he's the one who named it the Hermitage. I don't understand why. I haven't dug that far into it. But Otto came to Canada with his wife their children and his wife's niece, Angelica. So legend has it that the Ives coachman, William Black, fell in love with Angelica and they begin having an affair.
Oh.
I don't know if that's really much of an affair, but when William Black asked Otto for permission to marry her, he was told no.
Burn.
You're not marrying her. So the next morning, when William Black didn't arrive with the carriage, they didn't know what was going on, so that they obviously went looking for him. Because he's missing his job. Like, his job is to drive their carriage. And when they found him, he was hanging from the rafters in the stable. Pretty much, it was
Bit of the overreaction.
Yeah, he hung himself because he couldn't marry this girl. Because he committed suicide, he was not allowed to be buried in the cemetery. So they buried him at the corner of Sulphur Springs Road and Lovers Lane. So at least he was buried, even though it wasn't really much of a cemetery. It wasn't a cemetery. It was just a crossroads. It is now said that on moonlit nights, you can hear William Black crying for his lost love and seen wandering the grounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, not buried in a cemetery, but they were like, well, we'll still go to the effort of burying him, but not in a cemetery.
Yeah. So they buried him at a crossroad.
All right.
That's the 1830s for you.
Wow. I see. Are we doing like back and forth?
Yeah, you might as well.
Okay.
You go ahead, go do it.
Now, but the thing behind you, though, is the ruins of their home or the stable carriage where he hung himself?
The home.
Oh. But he hung himself not...
So we're on the property where the stables were.
The stables were, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. But they don't have anything there on the property to be like, he was hanging here.
I think they have a little plaque that's like describes like what I just said, but that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
So the city of Hamilton acknowledges the fact that there is this ghost story. So
wow.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting.
That is.
It's got a lot of mystery behind it, that's for sure.
I think I've seen that place to go look at. A friend of mine and I were going to drive there one day and go. Yeah. But it looks like it's literally just the ruins of the place.
It is. And I'm not going to lie, we have been there. We have investigated it like when we first started the group, and people like to go there and do rituals.
Oh.
Yeah. So
I see.
May not be a good idea to go there in the dark by yourself.
Good.
Unless you want to become a sacrifice.
Right.
We actually when we went, we were when we showed up, there was a Hamilton Conservation Park Authority individual there, and he's like, listen, man, if you're not out of here by dark, I will have to come in and get you because you won't come out.
Oh my God.
Yeah. We're like, oh, okay. We'll be quick.
Wow. And they know that this happens, but they don't go in and do anything about it?
I think they're too terrified at night.
Okay. Well, it is Hamilton.
Yeah, see?
All right. Well, then I'll get to mine. My first story is a lovely love story between Johnny and June Cash. Now, if you don't know who Johnny Cash is, get off of that podcast. Just go away, because I don't think you're worthy to be on here.
No.
Johnny Cash, well, June too, but his name is more, I think, famous.
Mm-hmm.
Is extremely famous country, western, blues, rockabilly kind of music. I mean, he kind of spans a lot of different genre of music. But Johnny Cash was born February 26th. Oh, very close to someone else's birthday that we know. In 1932. He is was a American and songwriter and singer. He was born in Arkansas, and he's most famous for his somber sort of soul kind of music. It's mostly country and blues, but he did do some rockabilly and rock and roll music as well. He was a poor man from birth. He grew up in a predominantly heavy gospel community. He and his family had a cotton field, and he worked hard and long hours with his family and siblings. At the age of 12, Johnny's brother, who was 14, died of a very tragic accident. And it said that Johnny was present for it. And so that's typically where they think a lot of his solemn music comes from that heartache and tragedy. In 1950, Johnny enlisted in the US Air Force and spent most of his time in Germany, where he actually bought himself a guitar and started singing. Upon his return, he began his epic career. And in the 1960s, this is kind of where he met June Carter, who was also a singer, and they became part of like a threesome music. Calm down, everyone. Trio, I guess, is what you would call it. Now, in the 1960s, though, he started heavily abusing drugs and alcohol, and oftentimes was found pretty much lifeless. There were many times where they thought he had OD'd, and somehow he miraculously came back to life. And he attributes most of his well-being to June, who he married in 1968. So he has been noted to say many times that she was the love of his life, the reason that he was living. And their love story was like, if you ever want to watch a really good movie, what is it called? Walk the Line, I think it's called, with Joaquin Phoenix, who does an incredible job. And it depicts like just how much he loved her. So it's no surprise that when she died on May 15th in 2003, it was only 4 short months that he died after. Now, most people don't realize that they had a really nice home in Jamaica. We'll just pretend that this is Jamaica. I don't know where this is. And so they spent their final years in Jamaica, and that house, or they call it a plantation, is visited. So you can actually go there. It's a tourist attraction. And there has been numerous ghostly activity that has been reported there by staff, but also by people that go. There's been quite a few different ghost TV shows that have gone there too, including Ghost Adventures back in the day when it was good. And they caught quite a lot of activity, including audio of a man speaking who sounds just like Johnny Cash. But they capture both of them together. So Johnny and June have been noted to be in there. There's a really nice pillow that June sewed herself, and that seems to get a lot of EMF ratings, even though it's a pillow, and no one can understand why, but it's something she made. There's also a room, it's called the Wall of Fame, and it has a ton of information about them and pictures and all that stuff. Lots of activity is caught in that room, including voices that sound very similar to June and to Johnny, as well as when they do the flashlight thing, like turn the flashlight on and off. A lot of times both Johnny and June come through and indicate that they're there. So this is just a beautiful love story of the fact that he found this woman who really saved him in life, and he couldn't live without her. And when she passed, he went very quickly. And now clearly they have reunited on the other side and come through quite often, to the point that there's a lot of documented evidence to say that they're still together on the other side.
Oh, that's so cute.
Beautiful. It really is.
Adorable. That is so adorable. He's got some good songs.
Oh, so many. And it's such a, like, that movie is so good.
You know what the funny thing is? I've never seen it.
Oh, really?
No.
It's very good. So Reese Witherspoon plays June.
Yeah, I know that. I've just never seen it.
Yeah,
listen,
and she sings it. They both sing, but it's phenomenal.
Yeah,
It's
listen,
such a
I
good
just
movie.
watched that. I just watched that movie. Don't fuck with ghosts today. Like, are you kidding me?
That's so funny. I can't wait to see that.
It's like it's definitely a spoofy mockumentary. Like, it's like,
I love it though.
it's they get what they asked for. Let's just say that. It's great. And Sherpa Steve, man,
Beautiful. Well, I can't wait to see it.
yeah, you just wait. We can do a whole episode on it because it is Canadian.
I saw that. I love that too.
Perfect. I know. With the ghost bus tour. All right. I guess we're gonna bring it right back to Ontario because I didn't travel very far for these ones.
Well, no, you're sick. I don't blame you.
So literally still in Hamilton, we are gonna go to Albion Falls, or Lover's Leap is what it is known as.
Lover's Leap. I already know where we're going with this, and that's
I bet you do.
Continue.
So Hamilton has a lot of amazing natural, waterfalls. Like, just to even go to Albion Falls, just to even look at it is actually really, really, it's super nice. Like, been there, investigated it, fell in my ass, got dirty. But don't even, it's, yeah. So the story behind Lover's Leap is exactly what you think it is. So a woman by the name of Jane Riley, she was a captivating girl who charmed many suitors, but she won the affection of a man by the name of Joseph Rousseau. So for a time, their love was reciprocal. They would meet at the top of Albion Falls for picnics and scenic strolls. They were spending a lot of time together. However, that love was very short-lived. Joseph's mother found out that they were courting each other, because we have to remember this is the early 1900s. 1915s or something like that. And she was very disappointed in this union. She thought that Jane was poor and not in their elite category in society. And she expressed this to her son, who then in turn obeyed his mother's wishes and stopped calling on Jane altogether. Just he ghosted her, literally.
I was about to say, did he ghost her?
He sure did. Anyways, she didn't know what was going on. She couldn't get a hold of him. She was so distraught. She just couldn't take it anymore. So what'd she do? She jumped from the top of the falls. Now, they said that there was people there. She didn't do it, when it was dark or anything like that. There's actually people there. And these people said that they witnessed her jump and that they noticed that her dress, like her skirt, was like acting like a parachute, which was slowing down her fall. So she put her hands down to her side and collapsed her skirt and just thudded straight to the ground. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's that.
Wow.
So Jane is still seen in and around Albion Falls, and she's been also heard crying. So she's still very much present, apparently.
So two things. First of all, people in the early 1900s, super dramatic. Get over it. They don't want to be with you. You don't need to hang yourself, throw yourself off a cliff. Relax. Second of all, imagine you've gone there for a nice picnic and you're like, oh, this is such a romantic day. Look at it. And then some crazy girl's like, and then just jumps, but is parachuting now. So you're like, oh my God. And it's taking forever because she's like, slowly. And you're like, oh, can you just die? This is ridiculous. These people are very selfish.
16. I'm assuming they were 16, 17 at the time. I don't know.
Oh, for sure. Now, when she jumped, she's like, was she just like, oh, why is it taking so long? And then she's like, this is taking far too long. And then just went, and collapsed her dress. And then
I have no idea.
It in.
I would really like to know, because these people were like, yeah, her parachute, her skirt was like parachuting, so it was slowing her down. So she just collapsed her hands against her skirt and poof.
How big are the falls? I mean, they can't be that big. She's like,
if you were to jump off the top, it would probably take you 30 seconds to hit the bottom. But
that's a long time.
You know.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so her ghost, do you see it jumping off the thing? Because it would be kind of funny, I'm not gonna lie. If
I
you're
don't
like,
know,
oh
people.
no, and then you realize it's not a real person, then you'd be like,
Well, they see her in and around the fall. So I don't know if people have seen her like jumping and then she disappears type thing. I know people they see her wandering. She wanders around without shoes on. She has her clothes are all tattered because she's just like wandering through the bush, like, you know, with no purpose. Like she's so distraught, like she's just bushwalking. I don't know.
and this is Hamilton again? Is that what you
Yeah.
said?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. See, no one would know that's a ghost. You'd just be like, oh, it's another crackhead wandering around, no shoes on, wailing around. You wouldn't even bat your eyelid. You'd never even know it's a ghost.
No.
You'd just be like, Hamilton.
It's like Oshawa.
Poor Hamilton. It is. It really is.
Yeah.
You would just be like, put some shoes on.
Yeah.
And stop crying.
Yeah. Pull up your big girl panties. Come on.
Yeah.
You don't need no
Turn
man.
them into a parachute. And away you go.
That's all I can see now is some lady like with this like hoop skirt. Like
I know. Like so slowly. And the poor people just watching, like, seriously? Wow. So dramatic.
Oh,
That's all I have to say. All right. Well, that leads me into my next famous love ghost story. And in honor of Valentine's Day, let's talk about St. Valentine. He was a real person. Did you know that? I didn't either. Here we go. So, in the mid to late 200s AD, we're in Rome. There was a priest who was under the ruling of Claudius. Claudius the Cruel was his name. So he was like, I guess, the Roman Empire at the time. And he had this massive army, but he noticed that numbers were dwindling. And he's like, the F, where is everybody? And so he got it into his head that men weren't joining the army because they were going off to get married, you know, because hoes before bros, I guess, is the way that they was. And so he's like, no, I don't think so. So he banned marriage and engagement. He's like, no, we've got to flip that, put the hoes aside, bros all day long. And he wanted a big army. So this priest named Valentine was like, no, I don't believe that. And so he would sneakily do marriages behind the emperor's back. So when Claudius the Cruel heard about this, he's like, no, I don't think so. So he actually imprisoned, I was like, what's that word? He imprisoned the priest, and they did a really makeshift trial, and he was ordered to be put to death. And so on February 14th, 270 AD, he was tortured and beheaded. And just prior to his death, Valentine is said to have left a love note for the jailer's daughter. Now, there's kind of different stories about this. Whether he was just friends with her, he was also said to have cured her from blindness, I believe. Whatever. But either way, he had struck up this friendship / love affair with the jailer's daughter, and he left her a note that said, "Love your Valentine." See where are we going with this? And then was horrifically murdered. And so, of course, his ghost is seen to wander the jail. I did not write down where this jail is. It's in Rome. Find it yourself, people. I don't even know if it still exists or if you can even go there, but he is said to have wandered the jail, and he would bless all of the imprisoned people, and basically was just an all right good guy. And so thus became sort of Valentine's Day because of this guy and this ghost. You're welcome. Boom.
It has nothing to do with hearts and flowers. It all has to do with some dude getting his head cut off.
Exactly. He was murdered, and we're all like, let's celebrate this day. Yeah.
Let's give people chocolates.
Exactly. Overpriced teddy bears. Yes. But he did it in the name of love.
Yeah, and I'm sure they cut his head off in the same name.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but that's what happened, and there you go. That's who that
We
dude is.
live. I don't know how you and I would have ever survived if we had to live back then.
We would have been, well, first of all, I would have been apparently staked and burnt alive.
Yeah.
But, or I would just live in a cabin in the woods by myself and my cat.
And your cat. Oh
Oh
my god.
That's where I would be.
Speaking of cabins in the woods, this one's not in the woods, but it's on the lake.
Oh, go.
So we're back in Ontario. We're at the Prince
Hamilton.
George. We're at the Prince George in Kingston.
Ooh.
It is literally, so the front of this building faces the lake. Now it's like, yeah, it's like the St. Lawrence, like Lake Ontario, like right there.
Mm-hmm.
So the Prince George used to be a hotel. It's now apartments, so you can't really stay there anymore. Damn. But when it was first built in the 1800s, it was a resident of the Herkimer family. So the Herkimer family had a daughter named Lily. And Lily, she fell in love with a rum smuggler.
Okay.
They could make a comeback very soon. Thanks, Donald Trump and tariffs. But yeah, so she fell in love with a rum smuggler, and she would signal him with a lit lantern from her window. Can you see where this is going?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one night it caused a fire that engulfed the building and claimed her life.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yep.
Oh God.
We just hit straight to the point here. Yeah. Her ghostly figure is still said to appear in the third floor window, looking for her lost love. I don't really know if she lost him or if he lost her. Now, I know there's a few different stories about this one, and I think the one of it is that, the fire started when she found out that, he wasn't coming back or something like that, like something had happened. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, that the whole building has lots of different things that happen. Radios turn on by themselves. People hear whispering, doors open, close, slam, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's got a pretty interesting background. But I like your stories. They go deeper. Mine are just like, they fell in love. They said no. They died.
Yeah. They hung themselves and threw themselves off the thing. This chick set herself on fire. Calm down, people. Good Lord. Or she accidentally knocked it over, set the place on fire. The guy shows up, sees the charred building, is like, and just slowly wanders off and is like,
He's a rum smuggler. Like, do you really think that he wanted to be a part of that?
No.
He was smuggling booze.
Exactly.
In the 1800s.
Like, if there's not a lesson about open flames in that there, I don't know. I don't know what else is.
And then everybody wonders why most of these places used to burn down back in the day. This would be why.
Yeah.
This place burnt down.
Well,
what's that one?
The last one on my list is a good one. It's not really, but anyways. It's the St. Valentine's Day Massacre.
Oh my God.
Okay. February 14th, 1929. Chicago, Lincoln Park. Not the band for anyone. Anyways. 7 members of the notorious North Side Gang. Why don't we have gangs anymore? Cool things like that. There's nothing. We need more gangs with cool names that aren't bad.
We need mobsters, not gangs. Mobsters. Big difference.
Lobsters. I'm like, I'll take a lobster, but I don't know that we need gangs of lobsters coming down the thing. That would be horrific. Good God, imagine. No thanks. All right, so 7 members of the notorious North Side Gang were rounded up by people disguised as policemen. They were lined up against a wall and all shot to death. Like, not just like pang, like, Like there was like
They were
little
Tommy
bits
gunned.
left of them. They really were.
Tommy gunned.
It was 4 unknown assailants. Now, this was done sort of in the evening, but there were lots of witnesses. But yet, no one saw a thing. Wink, wink, if you know what I mean. Only that these people were dressed like policemen. So later, it was discovered the hit was ordered by the infamous Al Capone. In 1929, Al Capone was arrested and sentenced for carrying a concealed weapon. He was served, he served 8 months in Easton State Penitentiary in Pennsylvania, which is on our bucket list, I do believe, of places to go.
Yes.
Now, Al's cell was very luxurious. It was lavishly furnished. There was oriental rugs, cabinets, and radios, and everyone was like, how dare you? But yet, he was severely tortured by the ghost of one of the victims named James Clark. So this hit was on basically Al Capone's rival gang. They were beefing over turf, as the kids would say. And I can't think of the name of basically Al Capone's counterpart on the other side, but James Clark was his brother-in-law, I believe. So he was like kind of like next in charge. And so Al was often heard in his cell crying and screaming at a phantom to leave him alone. He was often heard yelling, Jimmy, get out of here. Jimmy, leave me alone. So James Clark also went by the name Jimmy. Anyone that visits the cell, because you can go to East Penn, which if you have the chance, please do. And of course, his cell is set up how it would have been back in the day. Anyone that visits the cell has lots of audio tapes of Al Capone speaking, usually crying for help, to try and stop being tormented. It is also said that Clark followed Al Capone once he left and finished his sentence, and he harassed him up until his death in 1947. Now, Al Capone was in many different jails. So he was in East Penn. He was in, I don't know what that word says, something county jail, fill in the blanks yourself, Alcatraz. He then, once he was released from Alcatraz, he was actually a very sick man at this point. So he spent most of his time or last days in Palm Island in Florida. But his ghost is seen all over the place. But most notoriously would be Alcatraz and Easton Penn. And even in Alcatraz, he is said to still be basically trying to get this phantom to leave him alone. They aren't really sure why the phantom comes after him, but it's a bit of a love story because he spent his last days with the ghost of this man in his heart on Valentine's Day when he shot the shit out of him. Even though he wasn't actually technically there, he had a really good alibi.
Yeah.
But it was all linked to him. And he seemed to suffer. And so the two were left. And I'm sure in the afterlife, they have reunited.
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine being met at the pearly gates by someone you shot and killed?
Well, apparently for the rest of his life, he was tormented by him. So let's hope when he died, he was like, you bastard.
Jeez. I have one more too. And this one I'm just going to go off the top of my memory, like my head, because I've been there recently. Well, I shouldn't say recently. Actually, it was a year ago this weekend coming. We were there. So our last little love story is about the Prince of Wales Hotel in Niagara-on-the-Lake and room 207, I believe, which is the Molly Maguire room. So the story goes that, back in the day, the town, like Niagara-on-the-Lake was known as, I think it was Newark. And in 1812, of course, the Americans came over and, fought and pillaged, War of 1812 and all that. At one point, it got so bad that, the Americans, someone told the Americans just to come over, burn everything down and get the hell out. right?
Extreme.
Yeah. So literally, they sent women and children in the middle of the winter. So you're looking like January, February, or it was December, I think it was. They literally lit their houses on fire. They sent them all out into the bush with no, like, just the clothes on their back, no shoes, no nothing, and said, "Good fucking luck in 1812. Have fun, survive." Yeah, our beautiful history. Anyways, so but where the Prince of Wales now stands, there apparently used to be a house. Now, one night, everything is dark. The Americans are starting to march through the town, and they've been told to take out any men who are British, pretty much. British, French, whatever, not American. So they are marching through this town, and they see, they're passing this house, and they see a shadow in the window. And of course, thinking it's a man, they march into the house, and they take their bayonets, and they start bayoneting the curtains. And they notice that there's a pool of blood on the ground. So yes, they're getting their person. But then this person, they find out, is a woman.
Womp womp.
So this woman was apparently Molly Maguire, and she was waiting and watching for her husband to come back. And she was just standing in the shadows, watching out the window. And yeah. So apparently, I guess they just left. They just hastily left, and yeah. But now Molly,
at least she was behind the curtain. I thought you were going to be like, they thought it was a man and they went and stabbed him, and then they were like, oops, it's a woman who's very unattractive. So at least, she was behind the curtain, and it wasn't just a case of ugliness. You died because you were ugly.
Yeah. So now, add some years, the Prince of Wales, the hotel is built up, and it expanded, and now 207 is the apparent room where the house used to be, and that used to be the second floor window where Molly Maguire was looking out of. So she is apparently haunting room 207. There's like a feeling of sadness. You can hear someone crying. Sometimes, like, there's also a whole bunch of activity that happens in there. Allison slept in there alone. She didn't sleep very well. I think Ryan and Liz went back a few weeks after. They went and had that room. So yeah, definitely something to check out. Apparently, it does get quite booked up. They've got like a 6-month waiting list for just that room.
Yeah. Wow. I'm going to start a hotel and be like, oh yes, these 3 rooms are really haunted.
Why not? Make some money. No.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's pretty much it for weird love, ghost love, and no dead pirates. But we had a rum smuggler.
We did. So almost.
Yeah.
A pirate.
Almost. Maybe he was. I don't know. Did Lake Ontario have pirates?
There was just like a weird bang behind me in my room where I'm by myself. Okay. It's Molly Maguire coming to be like, I don't look like a man, bitch. I don't know, whatever.
Oh my gosh. Poor Molly.
Yes.
But yeah, so that's it. So if you've got a ghost story that has to do with love, whether it was wanted or not, or, it's from the early 1900s where everybody just, despaired everything and woe is me. We'd love to hear it.
Or if you're in love with a ghost or married to a ghost, call 1-800-JERRY SPRINGER.
You know what the worst part is? I just watched that documentary on him on Netflix. Literally just watched it.
On Jerry Springer? Oh, I didn't know there was a documentary.
Yeah, it's good. Talks about the show and how it started as a talk show and just went. And yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. So, but if you have any stories, questions, comments, want to share anything with us, we'd love to hear it. You can send us an email at paranormalpodcast@gmail.com. That's PAREHNORMAL podcast@gmail.com. You can look us up on Facebook and Instagram. Just look up at Paranormal Podcast. And you can find us on TikTok too. Same name. Just look it up. You'll find us. Other than that, that's the end of this episode. And next week is all about other weird stuff in Canada. Folklore, like Bigfoot.
Ooh.
And the Ogopogo. And you've never heard of the Ogopogo?
I have never heard of Ogopogo or whatever you just said.
That's like the Loch Ness monster of like out west. In Lake Ogopogo. Oh my gosh.
Okay, well, I'm in for a treat there then.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that'll be fun. That'll be fun. Anyways,
Absolutely.
all right, guys. Have a great week, and we will see you next time. Bye.
And happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Don't forget, it's based on a guy who got tortured and beheaded. Happy Love Day.
I wait till the next day. All right, bye.